Hey guys, and welcome to Shalom Aleichem. So today we're going to be talking about an aspect of OCD that I actually talk about quite a lot, but I've never actually fully explained. Like most things on my channel, right? I make a video explaining it after I talk about it. And I'm going to talk about pure O OCD. And that kind of sounds like a cereal I used to eat when I was younger. It was called Purely-Os, and they were like the organic version of Cheerios. But this is not a delicious cereal. OCD is not delicious at all. But I'm going to be talking about pure O OCD today, and I'll explain what that is right now. Purely obsessional OCD is called purely obsessional OCD because it was once believed that people with pure O had no compulsions. The person with pure O has obsessions, and they have compulsions too, but the compulsions are not overt compulsions. So like someone checking a stove and like turning it off and on a bunch of times, that's very much a compulsion. You can see that happening. But a person with pure O will often have mental compulsions, which couldn't just be avoidance, but that's still technically a compulsion because you're using it to distract from the anxiety. Because the compulsions are not overt, people with pure O can often be misdiagnosed or misunderstood. Also, because most therapists are not trained to ask the proper questions when dealing with a client with pure O, a lot of times the treatment is unsuccessful. It is possible to treat someone with pure O OCD with exposure and response prevention, but you need to know what the rituals actually are. So that way we can effectively prevent them. Common mental rituals for people with pure O OCD are praying, repeating words or phrases in their head such as I don't want this or stop, changing intrusive thoughts into something more acceptable in the person's mind. This could be like getting an intrusive thought of stabbing someone and then changing it to hugging them. There's also self-reassurance, or making certain something is not going to happen, or making sure it didn't happen. I know a lot about pure OCD because most of my OCD is pure O. I was actually diagnosed because of my pure O obsessions, which led me to be very confused when I was first diagnosed because I was like, how do I have OCD? I have no rituals. But pretty soon I realized that I do have rituals, and then other rituals formed, and I got other types of OCD and blah blah blah. We're talking about pure O right now, so I'm not going to get into that. Anyway, next I want to go over some of the common pure O obsessions. So a very common one is harm obsessions, which is an obsession with the theme of hurting someone else. This could be like fear of harming someone else, fear of wanting to harm someone else, hit and run OCD, which is like a person goes over a bump in the road and they're afraid that they hit someone and didn't know it, or fears of leading to someone's accidental injury. And this could be something as simple as seeing a nail in the road and not picking it up. There are also religious or morally themed obsessions. These could be like blasphemous thoughts, fear of being sexually attracted to religious figures, doubting their faith, or doubting that they'll go to heaven. There are also obsessions focusing on sexuality, which could be like fear of being gay if the person is straight, or fear of being straight if the person is gay, fear of being attracted to children, fear of being attracted to animals, or fear that they might want to cheat on their spouse. And there's also obsessions about acting on an unwanted impulse, like fearing they'll act in a sexually inappropriate manner, fear of shouting obscenities, fear of committing a crime, or fear of confessing to crimes that they did not commit. There's also a very interesting type of obsession called a somatic obsession, which I had never had before. It's basically an obsession about like bodily functions, such as like bodily sensations, I should say, such as like breathing, heart rate, or swallowing. There could also be persistent feelings of unreality or depersonalization. There's also the fear of developing a chronic, unreversible illness, and the fear of vomiting. The last kind of obsessions I'll talk about are ones involving mental or emotional contamination, such as fear of being changed by certain ideas, fear of transforming into other people, superstitious fears around bad luck, or fear that hearing about something bad will cause it to happen. Like hearing about serial killers will make them want to commit murder. There are way more obsessions, so I encourage you to do your own research, but I hope this gives you an understanding of what pure O OCD is. Have you ever had any obsessions like these? Like, I feel like a lot of people will have intrusive thoughts about somatic obsessions where like, because like, you know how when you suddenly become aware of your breathing for some reason, like someone mentions breathing, and then it's all of a sudden it's like, oh, I have to control my breathing right now. That's kind of like what a somatic obsession is like. And a lot of times people will be like, what if I always have to focus on my breathing and stuff like that? And people, it can be very hard to deal with those things. I've never had them that much, but I feel like we've all experienced that type of intrusive thought. This video is really an introduction to more videos I'm going to be making about pure OCD and all the types of thoughts people can have on it, and of course my own experiences with pure OCD, since I've had it for like 2 years now and I have a lot of different types of thoughts regarding pure OCD and stuff like that. So yeah, I think that's all I have to say. I will put a link down below of where I got all my information. I'm really hot. I don't know if you can see it, but my glasses are fogging up a little bit. I had to turn off my fan. Oh, summertime. Summertime, man. Anyway, thanks for watching this video, and I'll see you all later.